Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Voice, 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 piano. Check 1, 2, 3.
I wasn't playing or saying anything.
Okay. All right. Good. So today I think I have confirmed that this is fully on. This voice mic is on, and I will not turn it off. Okay. So, let's see.
Play on the piano really quickly.
Play on the piano.
Okay, sounds good to me. I was listening to the stream.
Okay, cool. And my voice was projecting at least, right?
Yes.
Okay, much better than yesterday. I don't know what that was. So we had a lot of ideas, and I was mute, practically. I can still barely hear myself. So we either need a, what's the word? We either need a caption, which is going to be, or it's going to be something else. So where were we? We were 27, number 2. But we barely finished. We almost finished the ending of 27-1, which we probably would enjoy a reminder of what the piece sounds like. Everything works. So that's the piece. We were through Opus 27 number 1 with most of the parts. We're only lacking how the piece finishes its ternary form. Starts with this dark, brooding, chromatic non-melody. Develops into also a chromatically driven left-hand accompaniment in the middle. Okay. And then we recognize that Chopin has this revolution of the middle section. He not only increased the drama, just like Opus 15 and number 1 and number 2, where the middle section is more exciting. Chopin also extended the middle section into, I think there was almost a forbidden word that we didn't try to say yesterday. This is a 3/4, a dance-like motif. Is this a mazurka? We don't quite know. Mazurka usually has a accent on the third beat of the work, so you can call it a dance-like extension of the middle section, which sounds like. Okay, this is 2 con anima, not as intended, but this is the middle section extension where Chopin brought us down from an appassionato main climax and brought us back to a more personal emotional climax, which results in outbursts such as. This is the longest fermata I've taken. as I was saying, we return to the opening material, repeating almost the same, repeating the part where we have two independent voices, but similar material. But when we get to the usual sort of turnaround point, which is precisely at this point, what was done earlier was it turned into a two-bar transition, and then that took us into the middle dramatic section. Here, what Chopin ended up doing is this sort of a grand scheme Picardy third, right? This is a sectional Picardy third that, in technical term, so the piece was rooted in this kind of tonality. C sharp minor, another famous piece in C sharp minor is the Beethoven Moonlight Sonata. Yet how Chopin ended here is in the following tonality. Versus, do you hear the difference? Okay, play better. So somehow more peaceful than than all of the above. The ending in particular marks adagio to indicate that things have calmed all the way down to almost one of the slowest tempo. The span in your left hand has grown in size. If it was a long wave, then you're literally in the wave right now, in one piece of wavelength. This is your, this is sort of, or you can say this is a full zoom back. You now saw that you were just not in the miniature waves that was sloshing about. You actually have a larger horizon that you're looking at. Maybe this is the this is a sunrise or something. Maybe, I mean, it's just my imagination. But
daybreak for sure, right? Something peeking out of the clouds. Finally, do we say what a Picardy third is?
No, the Picardy third I should mention is the following idea. This probably all started with Bach, or maybe at least in the Baroque era, where a minor piece that starts the work, for example, C minor. Now, in anticipating that the end of the work is also going to end in the same tonality, but Bach sometimes tends to, this probably has a religious reason, so that Bach eventually resolves the piece instead of going, for example, just the typical resolution. So you could end a piece this way, but instead, I have to choose my things very properly here. Essentially resolving to the, is it called relative major or is it called parallel major? It's probably called the parallel major. So C minor, but instead of ending on C minor, you end on C major.
Yeah, C sharp, yeah.
So it, yes, I know, Aria. We're talking about a piece that is on C sharp, but I was just making.
Which is, so the resolution you gave, though, right? It's
Yes.
not that exciting if the key were, in fact, in the major key. There's something more striking about it because it's coming from the context of a minor key tonality.
That's absolutely the, I think almost the main point is, it almost sounds very defeating, sounds very tragic, right? If you actually go from a major key into a minor key, that I mean, eventually, I think at the end of the day, we always try to look upward when either composing music, right, or listening to a piece of music. So there's something uplifting about going from a minor, usually darker or colder key signature, and going to, all of a sudden, even your dark room will feel a little bit lighten up, all
And
because
this
of the
isn't-
tonality. Yeah.
And this isn't an isolated instance. In fact, as you were talking, I had to check because I thought it was, and I confirmed, or at least I think I confirmed. Let's see. So you may recognize there's another nocturne out there in the same key, by the way, right? If it's recognizable to folks now, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay, but how does it end? Is the question, right? So I'm not going to try to do these runs. Should hold that. Brightness, all of a sudden.
How about that? Chopin actually, in this case, didn't give it away until a point where he thinks is necessary, and then he broke the sort of one sliver of light that was peeking through, and then it blossomed into a final scene that, of course, has light.
Right, and I think you could have just done right without it.
Yeah.
Sounds perfectly fine. It's home, right?
Yes. As
There's a
conclude.
very special meaning to this pianissimo.
So this is the Chopin Nocturne in his posthumous work. Even though this piece was composed when he was 20 as well, as for the Opus 15, this piece is probably, what do you call it, maybe the second most well-known nocturne of Chopin. Many play this piece as an encore. And it is another prime example in the same key as 27 number 1 that the work starts with the cold, dark C-sharp minor, but then the work ends in C-sharp major. So Picardy third usually refers to just a change from minor to major, or it resolves to the major at the last bar, at the very, very end. But what we're saying now is Picardy third is now a concept that it is, let's say, it's not just the ending note that tells us the tonality, but an ending section, or so-called coda that tells us it is now venturing into a parallel major section of the home key. And what we're saying here is Opus 27 number 2 has that section that has this Picardy third general idea. So if it is a section, it's not then a single chord. That means this idea is even developed a little bit. Even though we're ending, that doesn't mean that everything is just going to be washed away and you will not have any development. Chopin paired everything very well in the end here. That so when we turn, now the reason why I slow down so much to actually hear out every part of this piece of music is that it retained a good number of the previous, I'm going to say, characteristic. So first of all, just the first 3 notes of this section, they are in thirds. So 2 people are singing. Was this ever the case before? Ever? So in the opening section, we said there were 2 independent voices. They are staggered. If they're staggered, then they're never in unison, and then so it's really conversations rather than unison singing. So we were trying to buy into the boat-related themes of both nocturnes, and that's probably not a very convincing choice if we had we only heard the first parts of the work. In fact, the first and then into more dramatic middle section. But only when we get to the end, we start to develop these unison in thirds. Well, sorry, this is terrible terms, but same rhythm in thirds. It's a chord. At the same time, Chopin kept the dotted notation that was pretty much carrying the momentum from before, because what exactly was right before this bar, we were still hearing. We were still hearing this little disturbance of this dotted notation that was prevalent, of course, in the opening. So this is, I can say that finally, if the boat theme wasn't so convincing before, it could be slightly more convincing now. Nathan, what do you think?
It could be foreshadowing, right?
Hey, we were just about to.
I think,
yes.
Yeah, well, because I think that we established that the pattern of the left hand in 27-1, it doesn't quite have the boat rocking feel that 27-2 and the bark roll, which is the quintessential,
Yes,
boat theme. It doesn't have that feel to it. So yes, we start to get this sort of singing duet in thirds. We start to feel a little bit more in that direction, but I don't think we've quite gotten to the gondolier yet.
but we're almost there, right? We're almost there. We're almost there. Okay.
We're almost there, which is what maybe why, when you finish 27-1, you are invited to go directly to 27-2.
And if you recall from yesterday's performance, or actually 2 days ago already, right? That the way that Nathan approached the ending of 27-1 1, which ends on this chord in particular. I think I missed. What Nathan was saying, let the music diffuse, let this chord diffuse up to a point where he thinks is valid to go. And then you can go on into the next piece without really breaking logic, even without breaking, let's say, even the mood. So, is this a good time to go into 27.2? I am certainly avoiding talking in too much detail about the adagio final 3 bars of 27.1. Because I felt that there could be too much to be said here that may deviate from the natural flow into 27.2.
I don't know. Well,
so
why don't we hear it? Why don't we hear it at the very least? Hear it go into the next nocturne.
Okay. So I think I should probably invite the person who is more able to play this to actually play it. So
matter of degree.
Yes. Is there a good chance that we can actually hear from let's say measure 93, or even just the last section where everything leads into it?
Yeah, let's do that. Let me mute. Pause there.
So, do we feel sort of the seamlessness, yet we're then confronted with a new character? If there's anything noble in the previous piece, that could be the ending of the piece, then we have possibly retrieved the usual self of Chopin in 27.2. If you cannot hear the style of Chopin in 27.1, then you will be able to. You are nicely reminded in 27.2 that Chopin here he is. Maybe I'm leaning too much into the popularization of Chopin's style. and maybe it's my own sort of prejudice about rondo form Chopin nocturnes, that they always have a parallel to the famous Opus 9 number 2. But such deviation is probably uncalled for. We were on a boat. This boat now carries some... Okay, I actually honestly don't know whether this is a far angle. Sorry, not far angle. What's the word? Is this a long shot or it's a close up? I think originally we were saying, well, at least I was saying that the long wave in the Opus 27 number 1 versus the rippling effect. And I guess the point that I was trying to make is the rippling seems to be a more detailed event, but the long wave is a bigger picture. So in order to see the ripples, you don't. If you're really far away, you can't really see it. You need to get a little closer. Maybe these ripples are something that you're not really riding the boat. Maybe you have just docked, like on the side at the side of a lake or river, and you're just observing. And of course, it's not raining here. It's not as dark as as 27.1. So Nathan, I mean, of course, everybody plays this and thinks about this very differently. What do you have on your mind, maybe today, when you are playing?
I mean, sir, about Chopin's sort of recognizable style, right? You have so much ornamentation, right?
Yes.
That I think you can't get lost in the weeds of those. So there's something that pushes you towards a wider shot view of things. And yet, I still think that there's something idyllic, maybe is the right word, about this, in a way that I think, people, this is just my personal take on 27 too, just that I think that people tend to over dramatize the work as a whole. Really lean into this dolce. Oh. Right?
Yes.
Excessively so.
Yes.
Which to me is just cloyingly sweet, almost, right? It's like eating the fake milk chocolate.
That's right. That's right. This sounds artificial. We need we still need a sense of nature here, that is just nature by itself, and it has a natural rhythm that I believe this left hand should almost be unperturbed, rather than, let's say, loads of rubato that also goes into the left hand.
It's definitely a pet peeve of mine, and look, there is a jump, right? Between that first and second note, it's always a pretty wide jump. So a lot of pianists will take a little bit of extra time on that first note. I'm obviously exaggerating.
Yes, but you see, but I think that's actually a problem, because even though the exaggeration sounds, I mean, audibly very very excessive, but you do hear this type of performances out there where almost every beat or every half measure, you hear something stop, and it's in the left hand that is stopping, not the right hand.
Yeah.
And so, I guess it still circles back to the question: if we are believing, or if we believe that there is something natural about this, maybe it's further supported by Chopin that if you want to do rubato, you should still keep a steady left hand rhythm, but you only do rubato in the other hand, in your right hand, where the melody is played. So you actually never have a sense of lost time or borrowed time. The time is the same. You keep it steadily in the left hand, which might be just the way to do this. Now, where is the first time where we may say, okay, this is not just a pretty face? I guess that's my. I mean, usually that's how I sort of go into a piece, is by saying, okay, this starts very nice. This starts, let's say, all very uplifting or positively, or has a clear one single character that is, let's say, dark or cold or something. Now, in Opus 27, number 1, Chopin already sort of almost surprised us that the first note being indicating the minor key, but then the next one is already going somewhere else. And back to dark again. So the introduction of multiple tonality, which basically, in my opinion, is multiple character in one section, is already Chopin at the second note tells you that things are going down here. Things are either going chaotic here. Now, in the next piece, where we have a very harmonious opening, I still haven't hit anything that is out of the blue, that is way out of line, that's trying to defy your basic understanding or your basic impression of how the piece goes. Even here, nothing is going crazy until we hit. So maybe that's the first moment of a defile, but again, nothing in principle has changed, because the left-hand rolling motor, it is still going. The ripples are still rippling. Maybe took a new color because the sun is at a different angle now after the time has reached that point, and so then it just looked a tiny bit different. Okay, but then how is this going to be different? Because Chopin has composed this piece, of course, with something in mind. Maybe this is dedicated to some lady or some madame, or I don't know. Or actually, it just says komponiert Herbst. So it didn't quite say who is this is dedicated to, right? Or the entire 27. Oh, the entire 27 is dedicated to Madame la Comtesse. What is it? D'Apolni. So some countess, madam, right? So, but at the same time, his work is quite famous. His earlier nocturnes is quite famous. So what is so common? Let's say again, since we're studying 27 together. Even as of now, or maybe up to the point where you stopped, is there something similar to 27.1? I mean, the difference is I would say pretty stark, because because 27.1 has a very sparse melody, usually not embellished, right? No turns, motifs, or anything, right? No such things such as. So loads of things to be said here, but you don't hear any of this in the previous work. So I think the difference is very clear. or maybe it's too, let's say, premature to say anything about, let's say, the similarities to the previous piece since we haven't heard enough of it. But obviously the right hand. I mean, if you were looking at the score, you will notice that there's more black parts out here because it's just a more densely packed right hand melody, very busy, very pianistic, as we spoke yesterday.
Indeed, and you immediately have more elements of a gondolier singing, right?
Yes, we were just developing into. I'm missing the rhythm, but this is the idea where we are seeing thirds, not only thirds, which is quite nice, but you also hear sixes. I would maybe imagine that this is a place where some local orchestration probably can be done, right? Maybe not the whole piece. And usually, I suppose these are winds. I suppose these are flute-like. I mean, I'm just really thinking on the fly here. Because flutes sound quite nice in thirds. This register is also not too straining for the flutes. Clarinets may be a little higher here. So, I mean, just the thoughts, right? These are just experimental thoughts. But I think a duet in basically in the same motion sounds very nice here. And you don't hear such feature in the previous work until the end.
Yeah, I mean, it is parallel there too, right? Parallel thirds, yeah.
Yeah. Parallel thirds, parallel sixes. You have a little bit of independence of your voices, but they're really in passing. They're not really sort of so prominent that you really have to say that they're separate. Now, we were greeted initially with the warm D flat major, but when we go into this new section, let's say the duet section, if you will, right? What do we have here? Oh no. Oh no. Okay. I have to sit up straight to play this. Okay, Nathan, play it.
Oops. Yeah, it's already starting to drift away from that beautiful, right? I think the other thing to pay attention to in particular, it's not just ornamentation, but it's also rhythm. And I almost want to draw a comparison to the middle section of 27-1, which
Yes.
uses rhythm for dramatic effect.
Yes.
I think rhythm here serves quite a similar function, and there's a lot more different types of rhythm and syncopation, and you have to wonder, did Chopin invent swing in this?
Yes.
In this nocturne, right? But there's a lot of right, because it could have been.
Yeah, just do it straight.
Instead, he does. Right, there's a little bit of perturbation, and then triplets. I've been changing my fingering there, so.
Yeah, I mean probably to highlight the severe dissonance, right?
Yeah. Oops, not that one though.
interestingly, that if we were to read the music here, so certainly this music is not easy to read. I would almost say mainly because of the rhythm, because of the complexity of the rhythm. And Chopin almost, I'm going to say that this learning curve sort of bends up really quickly, that you start with something that is totally readable, but the moment when you get to the duet theme, you say, okay, the first line of the duet theme sounds reasonable too. I can totally do this. Wait, what? And then you have just all sorts of, I mean, the same line in principle, but then he makes everything very ornamented. So it has almost, you can almost say this is like a nocturnal etude, if you will, that is actually training your technique to accomplish certain ornamentation, so that you can maybe later on play some other Chopin, other work by Chopin. I don't know.
I mean, it's only 3 against 2.
I know it's
just in the context of a faster pulse.
But yet you don't want this place to sound fast.
Correct.
Right? You actually want this part to still be in the same character as a nocturne, maybe even because what Chopin wrote here as the duet theme starts is espressivo. I can hardly imagine a very densely packed, very fast piece can be played espressivo, or that will be such a feat to achieve. So there is this challenge of, I have some dense section, I have some interesting rhythm that shows up, even though, albeit 3-3-3 against 2, but they need to be espressivo first.
Yeah, and I do think that this further supports the need to keep that left hand pulse very steady.
Highly agreed.
Give you that backdrop there. Right, because you can't be. I mean, we have one instance of 5 against 4, right? You can't be fussing over.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
It just has to be smooth, right?
Yes.
Right. So.
Yeah, so in particular in these so 3 against 2 is already sort of the bare minimum here. And then you have, let's say, 5 against 4. We are not trying to think about 5 against 4. We're just trying to think, okay, where does it start and where does it end? We need that landing spot to help us go further. So the rhythm here is complex. Yet you don't want it to sound complex. That will be the training. That's the part of the challenge. But just in terms of now listening experience, we heard some densely packed rhythmic drives in the melodic line with 2 voices. So maybe the 2 people are really in accord, that they're able to follow each other very well. This is almost like the highest form of cooperation. What is the sort of the tonal feeling over here in the duet section? So what I'm going to demonstrate is I'm just going to play half bar by half bar, but not the piece, but just the chord that represents locally. So how we start is the following. We start here at espressivo here. Oops, that's too jazzy. So what basically my highlight is all of these major landing spots of a phrase is in minor key. And it makes no exception until the point we actually where Nathan stopped earlier, but it continues to be in a minor section. And only until we hit this part, he still doesn't let you just go away, right? You thought you're safe here. Not really. Not really. Oh, dear God. So Chopin is almost toying with you here that this opening warm D flat major tonality environment, it's inviting, certainly, but when the two voices starts cruising for the first time, they have cruised mostly through darker minor tonality sections. And it doesn't resolve also that easily. He has this gesture, which is... So Chopin always does this type of, I'm probably going to use an inappropriate word here. He's milking it. He is really waiting for this sort of, he wants to resolve, but he thinks that you wanted to resolve, but he doesn't let you. And then it's going to develop for a little more. Maybe there is some conversations trying to fight this through. Chopin is very good at showing forte as one person and then piano as another person. So I have highlighted this in actually Opus 32, number 2. So I can, and number 1, I can always go back to that example. But what Chopin has here, con forza, and then piano, it's like a very timid response. And then somebody come out again with even more embellished, you can say scolding, or just a powerful delivery. But then it's faced with a further, oh man, I think this part I should probably actually also illustrate in the 32-1 situation. So, can I play this part better? Yes, of course, every time. So this is my basically conversation. This is the conversation. So in 32 number 1, I think I have is also given one example here. It's similar position like this. So actually, exactly, I'm just going to say parallel delivery here. That's it's basically the same composition technique that Chopin has employed here. So now we actually found cross nocturne, trans nocturne similarities in terms of technique that builds this conversational different sort of strength differences. So Chopin is so I mean, of course, then you can tell that these are from the same composer. He has this storytelling abilities. Okay, where does that take us? Chopin went through actually a large amount of, you can say, modulations, right? Because we were hoping to go back to the opening warmth, the very inviting, warm opening, and we were taken apart by these two people sort of quarreling until Chopin shows us the following, right? Oh no! This is almost the first sign of a return. Because here, it doesn't sound anything is unstable anymore. But who knows? Chopin already broke your expectation before, right? He showed you something warm and then he said, no, go away. So this is the rondo parts of the work where the opening theme returns after hearing a development. After hearing the duet theme, it goes back to one person singing again. So what then happens? Are we expecting the same material? Is it even the same material?
Yeah, well, so before we
Yeah,
answer
yeah,
that, I think
no.
one other thing to note is that it's not pretty, right? It's not
Oh,
it's not
no,
just sunshine and rainbows and butterflies. Chopin in fact takes you on a journey already from the very beginning. You get one moment of beauty, and then you already start getting to this slight, maybe hidden discomfort, right? There's some chromaticism, right? Yes. That makes its way in. You know, you're not really sure what key you're in. You don't feel like you have a home. You almost feel homesick in a lot of ways.
Yes. You can
Right.
say that it's maybe somebody developed nostalgia, maybe out of these. After hearing all these minor keys amongst this sort of major key backdrop.
Yeah, but a little different than.
Oh yeah.
Right, a little different than this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the one that Nathan just showcased was Schumann's Kindersehnen, first piece, which we will also possibly spend another time more formally. So, yes, Chopin basically tricked us into believing stories that are into scenarios where it's not necessarily pretty all the way.
Yeah, which is just further, at least proof to me that this should not be played in such a beautiful way as everybody wants to play it. I think we should lean in a little bit to the discomfort, and it shouldn't be so pretty.
Absolutely not. I think there is even something percussive here. I even think that
Yes.
this part, Chopin wrote some dotted staccatos, right? Now,
Yep.
This could be played very gracefully, right? To even indicate that, hey, I'm doing a little bit of a jump here, right? Are these ballet dancers who are just trying to jump basically almost on the lake or something, right? Are they doing that? Or is it actually something more percussive, something that is leading to something that is actually more menacing? So we obviously heard a two-person battle, forte piano battle, but then we returned. We returned through all the mud and maybe slight outburst of the river flow. You felt compelled maybe to go back to the opening warmth. And now, of course, Chopin never gives you the same section twice unless it's a repeat section, unless it's an indicated repeat. So Chopin, of course, will add more ornamentation where interest strikes. So I'm not going to attempt reading this part because that will take some years. This is the truth because I've heard of this piece for a very long time, but I never developed the interest to actually play it. Mostly because of the challenge of the ornamentation. So I'm going to invite, or I mean, this invitation can be friendly declined, that to illustrate sort of maybe up to a point where you think fit. Um,
Yeah, maybe let's hear the next section.
let's hear, yeah,
We'll see
exactly.
let's see if I can do it still.
Yes, absolutely. Let's hear this.
I want to go. I'm going to introduce the four bars before we return to the opening theme too. Because I
Fantastic.
think there's something remarkable about this.
I agree.
There isn't a melody that gets you back, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
literally just.
Yeah.
So anyway, just I think so. Pay attention to left hand too, right? Which does not start on C sharp as I just did.
So I have circled it, and now let's hear Nathan play. That
We'll
was
get
great.
that one day.
We will, no, this I think this will be ready tomorrow. We will see, because this already illustrates sort of how tortuous the path is to basically return home. Because certainly at the end of Nathan's passage there, we heard that everything returned to the opening theme again. We heard ornamentations, but think of this part that Nathan just played as basically the same material setup as the previous opening plus duet. This is basically opening plus duet once again.
And there should be a lot of things that sound familiar to you, even though it's much denser, right? You still have very much, this chromatic triplets, right? You still have a lot of these duet lines.
Yes.
Oops. Sixths. You have this chromatic again, right? So.
But within this piece, within the same, let's say, parallel positions, because what I wanted to highlight here, maybe let's actually just try to capture this once again, even though I don't think that we're able to finish this entire piece today. But what I wanted to highlight is the following. In the opening plus the first duet, what we heard is a warm, welcoming opening, plus a duet that's mostly sung in minor keys. So I'm just illustrating the fact that they are in minor keys. And then you have a return, you have a fight, and then you come back. Now this time, as we just said, it is once again a opening, kind of quotation opening, reopen, reprise, and then you have the duet theme again. And let's actually look at how Chopin introduces or reintroduces the the duet theme again. So the way that Chopin did it earlier in the first part is, so actually I need to play this part. So notice that what preceded this part was single note, was a one person singing, and then the second person joined in at the minor section, at the minor key. So now on the screen, what you see is actually the way that Chopin reintroduces the duet, but the second person cannot wait for the sort of the position where he used to be, where he or she used to be. After the ornamentation, okay, let's try again. And thank you, Nathan, for the rescue. I don't think for the love of my life that I can actually do that. But it shows that, and also the way that the second voice returns to join in with the top voice, it sounds almost triumphant here. Right? It's actually the home key, right? It's actually the home key. Very high. It sounds almost, this is conclusive. But then the Chopin, the way that he did it afterwards, so first of all, the difference between this reintroduction of the duet and the previous one is that somebody cannot wait to join in. And then you hear, did you hear that? It's all major key. This duet now is a major duet as opposed to the minor duet that you heard earlier. And this, you might think, okay, well, this is kind of cool now, because earlier it seems that two people are quarreling. You heard this forte piano sort of contrast. But now it seems that not only you're playing chords, but people are really in a chord. Okay, so people then just live happily after, right? We really have butterflies, and we really have the sunshine and the little dew on those leaves, right? You observe all the beautiful garden business. Yes, so everything should be working out, and we should end this piece very soon because let's just let there be sunshine all the way through, right? All the way through, and we have heard the repeats already. So why do we need to hear it again, right? Okay, so what's about to arrive is likely the end of today's stream because I'm hitting past 7 minutes of my piano sound curfew. So how about we continue this train of thought where we have a warm nocturne. We have an inviting warm nocturne that is drastically different from its opus counterparts, opus 27 number 1. And even though we heard some sort of bumps and we hit some bumps in the road, people were unhappy for a little bit when the duet starts. All of a sudden you hear something quietly triumphant, and then you hear then something that is also very much harmonious. So for a nocturne, maybe this is enough drama, right? Earlier, Opus 15s, you heard a good part, very sunshine parts, very tranquil parts, and then tempest, and then tranquil again, right? Maybe this is enough drama, right? ABA, I think that's it. I can only take so much drama one day or one piece. So, as much I'm trying to build the suspense, we're gonna see this tomorrow. To finish Opus 27 number 2, and again, this cannot be done. For example, if Nathan were not to join tomorrow, I will not talk about 27-2 tomorrow myself. This is an impossible task to read and to play this piece as well as Nathan did, and Nathan will eventually play this in a concert. So we look forward to that, and we look forward to you rejoining us on this sort of a tortuous path to warmth. Okay, 27 number 2. We wrap up today. So Nathan, hopefully you can join us tomorrow, or if not, then the next time that you join in is the time that we talk about 27-2.
Wednesday. I can't do tomorrow. But
You
we'll
can-
do Wednesday.
Okay, so Wednesday. We heard it. So Wednesday. So tomorrow I will play some random crap to sort of cleanse our palate, or taint it. It doesn't really matter. So, but we will hear it on Wednesday. A continuation of today's topic. Hopefully today's mic is working. Nathan, you can hear me very well. I can hear Aria and her toy very well too. So hopefully everybody had a good laugh and a good time. So thank you very much. I will